Landaff students and families. I am sending you all this video to tell you a little bit more about Computer Science Night on Thursday at 3:30 p.m. At Computer Science Night, we are going to be doing a few different things. One, we're all meeting together to celebrate our year. So Mrs. Culver and I are going to go over what we've done in computer science for this year. We'll go through some photos that we took during projects, and we'll have a chance to tell you about why we're emphasizing computer science as a special this year, and we'll open it up to your questions as well. For the second half of Computer Science Night, we'll be celebrating everything that your students learned by having them walk you through a project. Parents and students are going to work together to create this project, and this will be a moment for students to show parents Scratch and Scratch Junior and computer science in general, and how we can use that to communicate ideas and emotions. So the project that I'm going to be talking you all through today is how to create a story of a moment from your year at Landaff. So this could be a really happy moment, a really funny moment, a really momentous occasion. You in some way need to make a story about one moment from your year that you had a lot of emotion about, right? It's something that you really liked, something that you were excited about, something that really sticks in your memory, okay? Now, I created an example for you all. Now, we did a robotics class this year, and so I created a story of that robotics class. Now, when you put together your story, keep in mind that we should make it pretty simple, right? It takes a lot of energy and a lot of work to tell a complicated story, and we only have about half an hour to work on these, so let's keep them on the simple side, okay? Now, what I did is I have several characters here. I've got a teacher, that's the elf, that's me. I've got text that animates on the blackboard. I've got two students, and I have a robot car. Now when I press the green flag, the teacher walks out. He writes on the chalkboard, "Today, robotics." And then the two students have a little conversation, and then a car pops out and starts following my mouse screen. So there are many different ways that you can tell a simple story. I'd say, make sure that it's not too much longer than 5 or 10 seconds as a guideline, just so we can keep it on the simple side. A few tools to use. So things that are really helpful are to use show blocks and hide blocks so that your characters show up at different times. As we've talked about many times before, using broadcast blocks can be really helpful to time when your characters show up. For example, my blackboard writing today, robotics, does not show up until it receives message 1. And the teacher, when he's finished doing his movement, sends message 1. Okay, so that allows us to coordinate things happening in our story. So hide blocks are great, show blocks are great, broadcast blocks are great. Also talk blocks are great. I use a lot of talk blocks in my story. So the two students, Noor and Abby, they use talk blocks. Another really helpful block that might be useful in your story are glide blocks. So at the beginning of my story, when green flag is clicked, I've got a go-to block that just sends my character back to its starting position. And then a glide block allows them to walk forward smoothly to their ending position. So really helpful to have that in place, whatever story you decide to tell. As you've noticed, also, my characters are really small to show that they're children, and I just used the size area on those characters. So I could make these characters really huge if I wanted to by changing that size around, but I kept them small to tell that story of kids who are working on a robotic car together.
Youngers will be following the same prompts as the olders, except youngers and their parents are going to be working on Scratch Junior instead of Scratch. So I created an example project here, Project 17. And we're going to be following the same prompt So choose one moment from your year, a funny moment, a momentous occasion, a moment that you are proud of, a moment that you are excited about, a specific moment, and then we're going to tell a story with it on Scratch Junior. Okay? So I created an example here. I chose two characters, a boy and a girl from Landaff Blue School. And I chose a duck as sort of another character that was going to add to the story. When I press green flag, the boy does something first. He walks 8 steps. He has a text block that says, "I found a duck at school today." And then he sends a message. This little message I set to orange. And when this message is sent, the girl receives the orange message. I set it to orange. And that's how she knows to do her action. So she's going to walk. She's going to say, "There she is now." And then she's going to send a red message. When the duck receives the red message, the duck will do something as well. So let's watch and see how that works. There she is now. And then the duck shows up. Hi, quack. Some tips and tricks for this. So using these little message blocks is really helpful for coordinating your story. Having a disappear block and a show block is good for having characters show up partway through the story. These text blocks are really helpful as well. They allow our characters to speak, although you can also record your own voice and have it be have their text conversations actually be audio conversations instead. And then I didn't use it in this story, but weight blocks are helpful, and loops are really helpful as well. All right, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you all on Thursday at 3:30.